Welcome back to the main events of Italian diplomatic activity abroad. The meeting at Palazzo Chigi between Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and US Secretary of State Marco Rubio lasted approximately 1 hour and a half. Among the topics discussed were the situation in the Straits of Hormuz and the crisis in Lebanon. Earlier in the day, Rubio also held a bilateral meeting at Farnesina with Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani. Yesterday, the US Secretary of State was also received in audience at the Vatican, one of the key moments of Rubio's two-day visit to Rome. The visit aimed to mend relations following repeated attacks and criticism by Donald Trump against both the Pope and the Italian government. On May 7th, at the Farnesina, Mr. Tajani co-chaired a ministerial meeting together with Croatian Foreign Minister Gordan Grlic-Radman, acting as rotated president of the Med9 and FAO Director General Q Dong-gu. The meeting brought together around 40 countries and regional and international organizations with the goal of strengthening political coordination on food security and fertilizer access through the Strait of Hormuz. Participants agreed on the importance of promoting a Rome coalition on fertilizer access and food security. The escalation in the Middle East has in fact led to a worsening humanitarian situation with 24.6 million displaced people, as well as a major emergency in fertilizer suppliers, considering that 30% of global fertilizer supplies originates from the Gulf region. The crisis in the Gulf, and in particular the situation in the Strait of Hormuz, was also the focus of a meeting convened by Minister Tajani on May 5th with Italian ambassadors to Iran, Israel, Lebanon and the United States. The head of the Italian Foreign Ministry urged diplomatic missions to continue closely monitoring the security situation, including in order to provide the necessary assistance to Italian nationals in the region. The meeting also addressed the situation in Lebanon, where fighting continues and the number of displaced people has reached 1 million. Concerns were also raised over growing tensions among religious communities, which risk triggering a new civil war. At the beginning of this week, Swiss Confederation President Guy Parmelin paid an official visit to Italy, during which he met President Sergio Mattarella, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani. The meeting with the head of the Farnesina focused on bilateral issues, particularly healthcare, reimbursement connected to the Crans-Montana tragedy, as well as on major international dossiers. Mr. Tajani expressed appreciation for the commitment also conveyed to the Prime Minister to ensure that the family of the young Italians involved in the Crans-Montana tragedy would not be asked to bear any cost for the hospital treatment received in Switzerland. Undersecretary of State for Foreign Affairs Maria Tripodi took part on May 6 in the G7 Trade Minister meeting held in Paris. Discussions focused on non-market policies and practices, industrial overcapacity, the resilience of critical mineral supply chain, and the outcomes of the 14th WTO Ministerial Conference. Italy stressed the need to reduce strategic dependencies on overly concentrated supply chains while promoting greater diversification of sources. Alessandra Schiavo has been appointed as the new Italian ambassador to Algeria. Originally from Naples and a member of the diplomatic corps since 1993, Schiavo has served in Israel, Brussels, Hong Kong and the Farnesina. Since 2018, she had served as ambassador of Myanmar until 2022, when she became Deputy Director General for Globalization and Global Issues, as well as Central Director for Asian and Oceanian countries. She now leaves the position for Algiers, where she succeeds Alberto Cutillo. On the occasion of the first edition in Côte d'Ivoire of the Italian Design Day, the city of Abidjan hosted the conference Thinking Regeneration, dedicated to the role of design as a tool for innovation, sustainability and shared growth between Italy and Côte d'Ivoire. The conference, led by Federica Sala, independent curator and ambassador of Italian design, represented an important opportunity for dialogue between Ivorian and Italian professionals, fostering the exchange of experiences and the creation of new synergies in the fields of design, architecture and innovation. And that's all for now. Thanks for your attention and stay tuned.